Now, this little tutorial is going to help us with something we call systems of equations. You'll see that vocab written on today's sheet if you look at the instructions. But a system of equations, I'll write it down off to the side right here. System of equations means instead of just having one equation to solve, we're now going to have two equations at once. The other thing that makes that a little more complicated is instead of having only one mystery number, we have two we have to find. So we're going to start off with a lesson that just helps us to plug in to show that some answer is a solution to both equations. Now remember, anytime we have an ordered pair, the first number represents the x and the second one represents the y. So what we have to do with each one of these choices is we have to see if it checks into not just the first equation, but also the second. The first equation says y equals x, which really just means these things are the same. It is true that 0 equals 0, so the first equation checks. Now for the other check in part A, we have x plus y is 18, which means if you add those numbers up, you get 18. Well, in this case, if we add up 0 plus 0, we certainly don't get 18. So 0, 0 can't be the solution because it doesn't work in both equations. So let's get rid of A. Now if we go to B, remember the first equation, y equals x, means these two things are the same. Well, it certainly isn't the case. These two numbers are the same. So we don't even have to check the second one. B is eliminated. Choice C, same thing. We have 10 and 8, so if we check that into the first equation, which I'll remind you is y equals x, y is 8, x is 10. These things are not the same, so hopefully D is our correct answer. Now the first equation that was y equals x, if we plug these in, we definitely get 9 equals 9, so that works. The second equation, we haven't had to check it in choice B or C, is that if you add them up, you get 18. X plus y is 18. Well, if we take the x and y value here, we have 9 and 9. That does add up to 18, so both of these check, and that is why D is the correct answer to number 1. We're going to skip over number 2. We're just going to work through the odds together. Number 3 gives us these two equations, and, a little bit more complicated here. The first equation just says if we add them up, we get 9. The second one says if we double the x value and add to that triple the y value, we'll get 22. So let's check the first one, which is choice A. 12 plus negative 3. If we add those things up, and again, the reason I'm adding them is because I'm checking this first equation. So if you add them up, we should get 9. Well, 12 plus negative 3, since they're opposite signs, they do subtract. You do get 9, so the first equation checks. Now in the next one, we're going to double the x value. Remember, x is the one that comes first, which is 12. So if we double that x value, 2 times 12, and add to that 3 of the y values, sorry, their pen's a little glitchy, y is negative 3, so we'll add 3 negative 3's to that. Well, 2 12's is 24, and 3 negative 3's is negative 9. If you add those together, they're going to subtract and give you 15. That's definitely not equal to 22, so it doesn't check in the second equation. Choice B, well, 6 and 3. In the first equation, if you add up x plus y, you do get 6 plus 3, which is 9, so that checks. In the second equation, I'll just circle it up there so we don't forget it. If you double the x value, which means if we have 2 6's, and sorry about that too, we're going to add to that 3 y values, which is 3 3's, we should get 22. Well, this gives us 12 plus 9, which is 21. That's not equal to 22, so it doesn't check in that second equation. Choice C, x and y, if we add those up to check the first equation, we get 0 plus 7, not equal to 9. So we're done with choice C. Hopefully D works out. We do get that 5 plus 4 is 9, which was our first equation. Said if you add these things up, you're going to get 9, so that checks. Now the other one says if we double the first one, which means we have 2 times 5, and 3 of the second one, which is 3 times 4, we're going to get 22. Well, that gives us 2 times 5, which is 10, plus 3 times 4, which is 12, and 10 plus 12 is 22, so choice D again is our answer. The only crappy thing about trial by error is that if D is the last one you try, it could be time consuming. That's what happened to us there. Next one, number 5. You can see the two equations we have. We have 5x take away 3y is 49. So 5 of the first thing decreased by 3 of the second. And the other one is that if we have the first thing, x, take away 4 of the second thing, we have to get 3. So this first one we have 15 and 3, and if you check it in the first equation, you get 5 times 15, take away 3 times 3, because remember, first thing is x, second thing is y. We hope that makes 49, and in this case, we actually get 75 minus 9, definitely not 49, so we don't even have to worry about that second equation. First one doesn't work. We'll go to choice B next, okay? 5 of the first thing, right? 5 times x means 5 of the first thing. So 5 times 3, take away 3 of the second thing. Well, this is pretty easy mental math. This gives us 15 minus 0. It's supposed to equal 49 according to the first equation. Definitely doesn't. We're out on B. Choice C, 5 of the first one means 5 times 5. Take away 3 of the second one, which is 3 times negative 8. We're hoping that gives us 49. Well, in this case, we get 25, and I'm going to write a plus here because we're dealing with a negative times a negative. So that always makes a positive. We get 25 plus 24. That does make 49, so we will check the second equation. We haven't had to use it yet. The first thing, which in this case is 5, take away 4 of the second thing, has to equal 3. Well, here we get 5 plus 32, because again, we have negative times a negative. 5 plus 32 is 37, definitely not 3. So it looks like, again, like D might be our correct choice. The first equation says 5 of the first thing minus 3 of the second equals 49. This does give us 55 decreased by 6, which is 49. So the first equation checks. I'll do the work for the second one right down below. The first thing, take away 4 of the second. Well, the first thing is 11, and if we take away 4 of the second number, that gives us 11 take away 8. Now, according to the equation, it has to equal 3, and 11 take away 8 certainly is 3, so both equations check. D is our answer again. Number 7, why don't we try going backwards this time, since D has been the answer on the first few. So the first equation says 2 of the first number plus 3 of the second. So 2 of the first number is 2 times negative 3, plus 3 of the second number is 3 times 10, and we're hoping this equals 4. Well, we get negative 6 plus 30. Definitely not equal to 4. D is out this time. Just our luck. Let's try C next. 2 of the first thing, which means 2 times negative 4. Sorry, it's a little glitchy there. Plus 3 times the second thing, which would be 3 times 8. And the first equation says that should be 4. Well, this gives us negative 8 plus 24. That's definitely not 4. Those things would subtract to give you 16. So after the first equation doesn't check, we'll just move right on. Okay, choice B. 2 of the first thing, so 2 times 2, plus 3 of the second thing, which is 3 times 0. That actually just gives us 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 3 times 0, which is 0. That adds up to 4. That's what it should be. So now we'll check the second one, which says 3 of the first thing, so 3 times 2, plus 2 of the second thing, 2 times 0. We're hoping that adds up to 11. In this case, we actually get 3 times 2 is 6 plus 0. Oh my goodness. These are not matching up, so it looks like we're at choice A. Should have just gone in the order we were before. 2 of the first thing, 2 times 5, plus 3 of the second thing, which is 3 times negative 2. We're hoping that adds up to 4. And in this case, we just get 10 plus negative 6, and since they are opposites, they do subtract, and 10 and a negative 6 does make 4. For our second check, I'm actually going to erase and just give us a little bit of room over here. Ran out of room. And now we've got to check this in the second equation, which is 3 of the first thing. So here we've got 3 times 5, plus 2 of the second, 2 times negative 2. We're hoping that makes 11. Well, 15 plus 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Since they're opposites, they subtract, and they do make 11. A is our correct answer for number 7. We only have a... Oh, actually, that is all of them. You have a few 2, 4, and 6 to check, to do some evens for homework. Feel free to watch this video. You can pause it if I've gone too fast. But to summarize, you've got to do a couple things. You've got to substitute both of your values for x and y, and you also have to check them in both equations. And if you have both x and y, check in each equation, then that point is your solution. Okay, so in summary, if x, y check in each equation, then that is the solution. All right, good luck finishing this up, and have a good day.